Tonight, you will lie in bed and hear a sound you cannot identify. Maybe a creak, maybe something shifting outside. Your body will go rigid. Your breath will slow. Every muscle will tighten without you asking it to. And the strange part? You will not be in danger. You will be in your bedroom, under a blanket, completely safe. But your body will not know that. It has never learned. That feeling is not anxiety. It is not weakness. It is something far older than either of those words. It is a survival system that was built over 2.5 million years of being eaten, and it is running inside you right now, whether you want it to or not. Your brain still thinks you are being hunted, not metaphorically, not as a figure of speech. The same neurological machinery your earliest ancestors used to survive predators in the Pleistocene is active in your body every single day. It shapes your sleep, your social behavior, your response to strangers, your reaction to darkness, your inability to stop scrolling through bad news at midnight. All of it. Every bit of it traces back to the same ancient system designed for one purpose: keeping a soft, slow, mostly hairless primate alive in a world full of things that wanted to kill it. To understand why your brain works the way it does, you have to go back. Not centuries, not thousands of years, millions. Picture the African savanna roughly 2 million years ago. Early Homo, small groups, no weapons beyond a pointed stick, no fire, at least not reliably, no shelter beyond what trees and rock provided. Out there in that open landscape, your ancestor was not at the top of the food chain. They were in the middle. They were prey as often as they were hunter. Crocodiles, leopards, saber-toothed cats, giant hyenas that could bite through bone. Every shadow at the edge of the grassland was a potential death sentence. The neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping what happens inside the brain when a threat appears. What he found was not a logical, deliberate process. It was a shortcut. The brain has a structure called the amygdala, two small almond-shaped clusters buried deep in the temporal lobe, and their job is to detect danger and respond before the thinking part of your brain even knows what is happening. The amygdala receives sensory information milliseconds before your conscious mind does. It fires. Hormones flood your bloodstream. Your heart rate jumps. Your pupils dilate. Blood moves away from your organs and into your limbs. All of this before you have formed a single thought. Ledoux called this the low road, the fast road, the road your ancestor took when something moved in the tall grass. It takes roughly 80 milliseconds for a threat signal to reach your conscious cortex. The amygdala can trigger a fear response in as little as 12. Your body is already reacting before your mind can ask the question, should I be scared? That gap, those 68 milliseconds, kept your ancestors alive. A predator that moved fast enough to catch you did not give you time to deliberate. The ones who survived were the ones who flinched first, who ran before they understood why. Evolution did not reward careful thinkers in the moment of attack. It rewarded the ones who overreacted. You are descended from those who overreacted. This is what the psychologist Daniel Kahneman would later describe as System 1 thinking, the fast, automatic, unconscious process that runs constantly beneath your awareness. And for most of human prehistory, this system was not just helpful, it was everything. Slow thinkers became lunch. But here is where it gets strange. Here is the part that modern life has never figured out what to do with. The amygdala cannot tell the difference between a leopard and a passive-aggressive email from your boss. It was not built to. The emotional weight of a threat, the feeling that something is wrong, activates the same cascade regardless of whether that threat can physically harm you. A critical comment, a crowd of strangers, a sudden loud noise, a social rejection. Your nervous system treats all of it with the same ancient urgency. The specifics change. The biology does not. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences found that modern social stressors, the fear of embarrassment, of exclusion, of being judged negatively, activate the same regions of the brain that respond to genuine physical danger. The brain does not cleanly separate social pain from physical pain. Being ostracized from a group does not just feel bad in an abstract way. It triggers the same alarm systems that were originally designed to respond to teeth and claws. And why would it? For most of human existence, being separated from your group was a death sentence. You did not survive alone on the savannah. If the tribe abandoned you, you died. Slowly. Painfully. So the brain learned to treat social exclusion as a crisis equal in weight to a physical attack. That learning never went away. Think about what happens when you walk into a room full of strangers. Your eyes scan for faces. You pick up micro-expressions in milliseconds. You read posture, tone of voice, distance. You are doing an instinctive social threat assessment that has nothing to do with logic and everything to do with the question your ancient brain is always asking. Am I safe here? Do these people accept me? Should I prepare to run? Most people feel some version of social anxiety. They assume it is a personal flaw. It is not. It is the predator detection system running in a context it was never designed for. Now think about darkness. Humans are one of the few large mammals that are functionally blind in true darkness. No tapetum lucidum, the reflective layer behind the eye that allows cats and dogs to see in low light. When the sun went down for your ancestors, the world became genuinely dangerous in a way that modern life has made almost impossible to imagine. Predators that could see in the dark became apex. The leopard, specifically, is crepuscular and nocturnal. It hunts at dusk and in the dark. And it is not a coincidence that the leopard's primary prey for millions of years included our hominin ancestors. Paleoanthropologist Lee Berger found fossil evidence of early Homo and Australopithecus remains inside leopard lairs. We were not just scared of the dark. We had very good reasons to be. So what did the brain do? It built a general alarm system for low-light conditions. When darkness comes, threat detection goes up. Your senses sharpen. Your amygdala increases its sensitivity. You hear more. You interpret ambiguous stimuli, sounds you cannot identify, shapes you cannot resolve, as threatening more readily. This is not irrational. For most of human history, this was correct. But you are reading this with electric lights 2 feet away. The dark in your hallway at 3 a.m. contains exactly 0 leopards. And yet, the scan happens anyway. The tension comes. The amygdala does not care about the light switch. And then there is the news. Your ancestors received threat information through direct sensory experience. A predator you could see. A fire you could smell. Danger was local, immediate, and real. Your nervous system was calibrated for that. You processed the threat, survived or fled, and then the threat was over. The system reset. The modern information environment does not reset. Every hour, your brain receives reports of threats from around the entire world. Collisions, disasters, crimes, political crises, economic collapse, war. Your amygdala cannot process the fact that these events are happening thousands of miles away to people you have never met. It processes them the way it processed a sound in the tall grass. As immediate, as personal, as something requiring a response. This is what psychologists call the mean world syndrome, a term coined by media researcher George Gerbner, who found that heavy consumers of news and television consistently overestimate the level of violence and danger in the world relative to actual statistics. Your brain tallies every threat it receives as if it were happening next door. The accumulation never stops. You are not anxious because you are weak. You are anxious because your survival system is working exactly as it was designed to, receiving threat after threat after threat from a global feed it was never meant to process. There is no simple fix. The amygdala does not update through logic. You cannot think your way out of a fear response in the moment it is happening because the response runs faster than thought. What the research shows is that slow, deliberate exposure and the cultivation of what neuroscientists call top-down regulation, the prefrontal cortex gradually learning to quiet the amygdala's alarm, can reshape the pattern over time. But it takes time. And it takes understanding what you are actually dealing with. You are not broken. You are ancient. The machinery inside you is 2.5 million years old and nearly perfect at the thing it was built to do. It kept your ancestors alive through conditions you cannot begin to imagine. Every fear response you have, every moment of social anxiety, every tension in a dark room, every spiral triggered by bad news, every muscle that goes rigid at a sound you cannot name, That is the evidence of a long, unbroken chain of survivors. You are the descendant of every human who flinched in time, every ancestor who felt the wrongness of a sound and moved before they understood why. Every terrified primate who made it through another night on a savanna full of things with teeth. And tonight, when you lie in bed and hear something shift in the dark, and your body goes rigid before your mind can catch up, you will know exactly what that is. It is not weakness, it is not malfunction. It is the oldest part of you still keeping watch.